Hello, everybody. We heard about SUPERMETRICS from news as a Finnish startup born out of a Google T-shirt challenge. And I'm lucky and honored here to have Zhao Hanbo, the head of business development and strategy of SUPERMETRICS. Zhao, welcome warmly.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited
Thank
to be
you.
here.
Thank you. Okay, am I right that SUPERMETRICS provides a kind of pipeline solution for marketing data? So practically with your products, one can collect data, marketing data, add data from virtually anywhere, and then put it into spreadsheets and then analyze with nice looking dashboards, right? Is it correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Or it depends on what's your definition of marketing data. If you take the very narrow definition of marketing data, then nowadays we also have it expanded beyond marketing. So we also cover CRMs like Salesforce and HubSpot, and HubSpot is also a marketing automation platform, and we cover a few other marketing automation platforms too. And we also cover e-commerce platforms like Shopify. So we are expanding beyond marketing, but those are, you can call adjacent areas to marketing.
Okay. That sounds cool, expanding successfully. Hey, but does it mean that lots of companies out there using spreadsheets, Excel, Google Sheets for their marketing analytics?
Believe it or not, yes. And I think my answer is actually a strong yes. So even with all of this hype of BIs and big data over the past decade or more, I think that many people still see spreadsheets as their go-to option for what I call small data analysis. So that's totally true. And I think there are a few reasons to that. One is this small data analysis, and I think for a lot of use cases, you can also perform the same analysis in BI tools or writing our own scripts. But still, I think spreadsheets are perfect tools for those small data analysis. Let's say with a lot of features, the most popular features in spreadsheets like pivot table or lookup, and it's still a lot easier to just perform those analysis in a very powerful and handy analysis in spreadsheets than using a BI tool. And then another reason I would say is flexibility. And a lot of SUPERMETRICS customers actually are using Google Sheets and Excel for their reporting, for their marketing reporting. And that's where spreadsheets still offer, I think, unparalleled flexibility. Those a lot of dashboarding tools and reporting tools that can't offer yet. And basically, you can make your reports into any shape, into any format in spreadsheets, whereas those drag and drop UIs, those dashboarding tools that cannot offer. Third reason I would say is cost. And still, I mean, nowadays you can get Google Sheets for free and Excel, I think almost for free, if not completely for free. Whereas all those dashboarding tools and the BI tools will cost you something. And last reason I would say is a learning curve, and everyone knows how to use spreadsheets. And I would imagine students, you guys in this Excel course, spreadsheets actually better than average people out there. So if you're an employee, I guess you definitely want to, I think, start deliver results on day one of your job, rather than go through very extensive trainings. And I guess that's very rewarding and satisfying for you guys as an employees. And it's also, I think, it's preferred by many employers as well. So those are, I think, a few reasons.
Excellent, thank you. I'm so happy we are actually putting so much effort here into learning Excel, including dashboards and all the things in there. Okay, so back about SUPERMETRICS, Zhao. So it started just a few years ago as a little tiny Finnish startup based with an Excel add-on practically, and now it has over 17,000 customers all over the world, with 15% of global online ad spend reported through SUPERMETRICS. That's huge, and resulting from that, it is, and 40 million euros annually as revenue. That's very impressive. Share with us what are the success factors of SUPERMETRICS.
Well, I mean, I guess there are many, I think, the factors to our success. And well, by the way, I think there are a lot of things that we did wrong, and there were a lot of lessons we learned along the journey as well. And then if I have to name a few key success factors, I think there are a few that came into my mind. One was I think we found a very strong product market fit in the very early days. So our CEO, he built this add-on for Google Sheets and add-in for Excel to help people pull their Google Analytics data into spreadsheets. And then there was a strong need for that. And also there was a similarly strong need for, I think, pulling data from those ad networks, such as Google Ads and Facebook Ads into spreadsheets as well. So there was a very strong product market fit from day one. And the flip side of that is, I think one of the top reasons for many startups to fail is what they call premature scaling. So the companies start to invest heavily into marketing and sales without a strong product market fit yet. So that's one thing we did well. And then second thing is, I think we had quite a strong execution from the beginning. So back then, there were a few other companies who operated in the same space, pulling marketing data into spreadsheets. But we were the one who executed this idea the best, and we were also super focused on that idea. And like what they say in startups, ideas are cheap. It always comes down to the execution, to see
how you implement them.
Can execute, to see who can implement the idea the best. That's where I think we were also lucky enough to earn a first mover advantage, because an important distribution channel for us is those marketplaces offered by Google and Microsoft, those add-on marketplaces for spreadsheets. That's where we can gain a strong first mover advantage. So that's where there's only organic ranking, there's no paid listing. So the more reviews and users you have, the better ranking you will have in those marketplaces. That's where we were fortunate enough to gain a first mover advantage. And another factor, I think, was our costly efficiency. So basically, SUPERMETRICS and like many other technology startups out there were burning a huge amount of money from investors. SUPERMETRICS has been profitable since day one. And our profitability, especially in the early days, was actually quite high. In the world of SaaS, there's so-called rule of 40. So that's the sum of a company's growth rate plus their profit margin. If the result is bigger than 40, and then those VCs, those investors would call that a cost-efficient growth. Whereas SUPERMETRICS in the early days, I think we were scoring around 160 to 170 against this rule of 40. So it just shows you our cost efficiency, which is, I think, one of the things that we're most proud of this business. And then, we were very, I think, cost conscious in the early days. And I think a byproduct we got out of that was, I think we were very careful with the kind of people that we were hiring. So we're very picky about our hires, and we, I think, did everything we could to make sure we were only bringing the best people into the company, bringing the right people on the bus, and I think the quality of the core team that we built in the early days, that was very important for our success as well.
Of course.
So those are a few things.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I mean, with the best team, you can build the best product and execute the perfect strategy to bring it to the market. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, those were very good insights for any startup. Yep, thank you for those. But hey, is it also about? It should be also about negotiations, right? Because you have to talk to your clients, you have to talk to your partners. There are so many talking, and to understanding of many, the business world is cruel and negotiations are about manipulating others. But you shared with me absolutely cool insight. Please share with our listeners, what is the core of successful negotiations in your experience?
Well, that's a big question that can be a $1 million question itself. I think there are many tips and tricks for negotiations. I think there are a lot of courses out there about successful negotiations. But if I have to name one core principle of successful negotiations, I think that I would say that treating negotiations as an infinite game rather than a one-shot game. Think about not only what's happening and the result in that negotiation, but what's happening after that negotiation. And let me explain what I mean by that. Let's say if you just bought a old apartment and you're hiring a renovation company to renovate your apartment. In that negotiation itself, I think you can squeeze the most of that renovation company and try to get a very low price. But then you may think that you have won that negotiation, but the consequences of that might be after the negotiation in the real renovation work, that renovation company may cut corners here and there. I mean, if they're charging you on an hourly basis, they may report you more hours than it actually took. So you seemingly or on paper you have the one that negotiation, but I think the end result could be that you're losing a bigger war. So I think that's what I learned. I think from my real life experience over the years. I think in the early days of my career, and I was very ambitious. I was very aggressive. I think that I was trying to squeeze the most out of the other party in every negotiation, but not every one of those ended up very well. So that's what the most important lessons I learned for successful negotiations. Not try to win the debate, but try to win the whole game. I think most successful negotiators out there, they often left the other party leaving a room and feeling they have the negotiation. For me, that's that's a sign of I think very successful and very experienced negotiators.
Yeah, so it's practically about building long-term good relationships with people around you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's excellent insight. Yep. For our students, Zhao, apart from being excellent in what they do and knowing Excel and other spreadsheets, what would be factors you're considering when hiring people to your team?
Hiring, that's a pretty big question as well. I think there are many factors that we consider when hiring people, and apparently we consider different things when we're hiring people for different positions and also on different levels. But then considering most attendees of this course are students probably with very little or no working experience yet, and I can talk about the key things I personally consider when hiring people for junior positions. So there are a few things I usually look at and I appreciate and value the most. And the first couple are, I think, raw intelligence and hunger to learn and develop him or herself. Because especially for junior positions, in most positions, I believe those jobs are not rocket science, and if you're smart enough and if you're
eager enough,
hungry enough, eager enough to learn, and I believe you will be able to acquire the I think knowledge needed for the job very, very quickly. And also even for those experienced people, there are no two identical jobs or identical companies in this world. Right? I mean, whatever experience you had in your previous job and in your previous company, it's very likely it's not directly applicable to your new job. So there is a learning curve at the beginning of every job. So I think having that positive mindset and having that eagerness to learn, for me, that's very important.
Yeah.
And some other things as the people who are early in your career, I think that being a hustler or and go-getter with a can-do attitude. That's very important for me as well. And I definitely want to get people on my team who can get things done. Then I also want to get someone who's very dependable and whom I can always rely on for getting things done. Yeah, so I think those are a few considerations from my side when hiring people.
Yeah, that's very useful, and I think it's very kind of smart for the company, because then you end up with your own grown specialists, experts of their things, passionate about what they do, and free enough to exercise ownership out of what they do, and it fuels the motivation, and then you have smartest, best performing people, right?
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah. Okay, so to learn more about SUPERMETRICS, guys, please do visit supermetrics.com. There is information about the company, about its products and open positions. And Zhao, it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing these insights, and we deeply appreciate it.
Again, thank you so much for having me, and the pleasure is all mine.